So this is the November monthly painting challenge. We thought in the Orb, which is a cool Discord that I like to hang out in, people came up with the idea that it'd be cool to have an unofficial monthly theme there in the Orb, with November looming and bonfire night just around the corner. The theme this month is fire. Think flames, freehand fire effect, or even sculpted fire. Anything that brings the heat. There's no competition or prizes. This is all about sparking creativity and sharing our approaches to fire effects. So whether you're working on a molten base, torch-bearing mini, or even a flaming sword, we'd love to see how you bring it to life. We will aim to have a live stream. This is the live stream. It's not really a live stream, it's a recording in the painting hangouts at the end of the month. This is the first one, so it's kind of a test. Discuss the entries and offer feedback to those who want it. Deadline for entries was November the 27th. Today is the 1st of December, and we're going to be showing off the entries. I've got Earthman Brick with me, Glottis, and Darkroom Minis. So Rob from Darkroom Minis and Steve from Earthman Brick. Glottis, can I just call you Glottis? Does that work?
Yeah, so, Glottis from nowhere.
This is your piece, right? I'll just let you talk about it. It's obviously Vulcan of the Salamanders.
Yeah, so just as a quick aside, it might be worthwhile for anyone who doesn't know the backstory or lore just to go over that briefly for any sort of piece that's been submitted.
Yeah, absolutely. I may not be able to fill in the lore for everything, so I might turn to you guys if you've got some. I'm not saying my 40k lore is rubbish or anything. Okay.
But mine might be, because I don't know much about Vulcan, so might be informative. Let's do that.
Well, we can start with who Vulcan is. Vulcan is a Primarch, the son of the Emperor, and the essential progenitor of the Salamanders Legion. They really like green, obviously, and Vulcan himself is somewhat of an artisan, so he likes, crafting his own armor, crafting weapons, being, in the forge. Something unique about the Salamanders is that they all have this charcoal black skin. So I've tried to do my best to replicate that here. I didn't want to go any sort of blue or reds or anything in there. It is pretty much purely like blacks and greys.
Yeah, it's really nice actually, the way you've kind of got that monochrome look on it. Really, really desaturated, isn't it?
Yeah, it's done a lovely job, man. Really nice.
And I think that contrasts quite nicely with the very bright, poppy armor.
I love the freehand on the armor. I have attempted some freehand fire on things before, but it always comes out looking like the shirt of that chef, whatever his name is. Get them fire shirts from the 90s. And it always all looking like that.
Yeah,
What's his name? What is his name? Flavortown. The Flavortown guy, right? You know what I'm talking about.
Well, in this situation, there's no freehand flames. They're all sculpted in. The Primarch models are insanely detailed. Potentially too detailed, but when it's in your hand, it's just absolutely exquisite.
Yeah, I think when you look at a really detailed model like that, when there's no paint on it, it can just look really overwhelming because everything's the same color. But I think you have done a great job here in picking out the details so they're distinct from each other. I can see that the stud on the front of the leg is silver and the stud on the leather hanging down between is gold. So although when that's got no paint on it, it just looks like loads of studs. You've actually really managed to kind of bring that detail out. So yeah, kudos, man. Looks great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, if you hadn't have told me that it was sculpted on, then I would have assumed that was freehand. And lovely flames you've done on it. Really, really nice, man.
It's so for the flames, I like to go from not quite pure white but a very, very, very light yellow all the way up to an almost black. Because that way you get the same sort of effect of, the heat turning into like ash, basically, at the top of the fire. And I think it just adds a lot of contrast to it, rather than just being, orange to red or something.
And I think like this is like an epic legendary model, isn't it? So I don't think you would have won like the pure white to kind of black fire gradients, quite cartoonish, isn't it? Whereas this is much more naturalistic, I think. So it definitely fits the piece better.
I definitely like to paint in a way that is still bright, but because I'm not doing it for the tabletop, I like to be more, not necessarily desaturated, just more grounded in how I paint.
Grounded's a great way of putting it, actually. Yeah, I like that, man.
Oh, I do like the back here.
You've done a lovely job on the scales. I love the green that's kind of coming through just a little bit on some of the highlights.
But I can't work out whether that was loads of fun or an absolute pain in the arse to paint. Which was it? The cloak.
Honestly, really, really easy.
Really?
Yes. Surprisingly, the cloak was the least stressful part of the whole thing. It's just because it's got so much. The detail in it is really, 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 really well defined. To the point where every single one of those scales feels like it's almost floating over the cape.
Yeah, it kind of looks like that's what's going on. Yeah, looks
so
like it was easy to drop a wash into and like easy to catch the very tops of and edges of them and everything without dropping more into the recesses that you don't want or whatever.
Yeah, so it was really pleasant to paint. I think the cape, I had a lot of fun painting that.
Great, dude. Looks really, really nice. And the hammer as well. Is that sculpted detail where you got those little flames coming up from the edge?
Yeah.
On the side?
Those are all sculpted as well. With each one of those also has little bits of like the coals at the bottom of the fire. They're also sculpted as well.
I'll tell you, it's nice that you have that green background, because I just noticed on the freehand fire on the leg, you paint the smoke in. You painted the smoke in.
Oh yeah.
There on the leg. Yeah, that's nice, mate. Because you can't do that with Legion of the Damned, of course, because they're black. So you can't paint smoke on black. But no, that's cool, man. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I was sort of jumping between them. There is got some strange order to things, I think. I understand. Okay, right.
It's a dummy run, isn't it? We couldn't get the files in the right order.
Yeah.
But one thing I will say is I'm not 100% happy with the fangs that are on the cape.
Yeah, so that's like you'd want it more of an off ivory, shanty bow type tone for that, wouldn't you?
Like I did with everything else, I just forgot, because when it's in your hand, you don't really see those.
Yeah.
You can only see it from that specific angle.
Like, I don't think I've ever painted a model that doesn't have something like that on it, where there's just a thing that you missed, or there's a thing that, you just... Because when you're painting a model, I do it from the angle I'm going to take a photograph of it from, and I concentrate on it being really, really good from that angle. But obviously this is a side-on shot. Even if you took a photo of the back, you probably wouldn't be able to see those teeth on the side very well. So it's almost like a blind spot on the model. Where it's not the front view, not the back view. I get that a lot, dude. Don't worry.
Before you go on to that one, though, I wanted to ask a couple of questions about the Primarch. Just like, see on his hand there, how on the sort of like the rim of his gauntlet there, it's got a whole bunch of like black dots. Is that like painted on details? Because I really like the aesthetic. It kind of reminds me of like the end nozzle of like a flamethrower kind of thing.
Well, it's the end nozzle of either a flamethrower or potentially a bolter. I'm not sure what it's supposed to be.
Oh, right.
They're sculpted in as well.
Oh, wow.
Oh, so he's got a bolter in his gauntlet there. Sneaky.
I'd have thought that he had a flavour in his.
Yeah, well, maybe. Yeah, maybe it is a flavour.
I think it is a flamer because if you look at the other side of the model, you'll see there's tubes going up to the back, and there's little canisters in his backpack there.
Ah, right.
Yeah, which lend to that and also fit in with the fire theme. So, and I mean, just a glorious looking model. Well done, man. Great work.
Cheers. Oh, one thing I will add as well, just because I think it's a really nice technique that I don't really see used that often, is I like applying a sort of a matte varnish to the underside of metals. So anything that isn't going to be catching the light can maintain the same colour, or whatever it is, but it doesn't reflect it, when it's in the hand and you're like rotating it.
Yeah, you get rid of the
It
lustre.
doesn't create those false shadows or false reflections that you wouldn't have in the actual real world.
Yeah,
that's
a great idea. I've never heard that before.
No, I've not either. Yeah, it's a good idea. That is to
Interesting.
kill off the lustre so that you don't get that bounce back. Yeah, it's really smart.
Exactly. Yeah.
Is that something you came up with
That's
yourself,
something-
or did you see that in some sort of a tutorial and adopt it?
I have no idea. I've been doing it for years.
Smart.
I'm going to say it's probably just a thing because I probably just came up with it because I like things being really matte. Like all the matte colours on this, or like the green, is completely matte, like AK Ultra matte.
Yeah, same actually. I like to get a really nice.
So I just sort of use that for everything.
I mean, with my true metallics, I would just matte the whole thing and then go back in and edge it in metal, like in a silver or something, to get the contrast. But I've never heard of underspraying it. That's a great idea, because it's like what is the opposite to a zenithal highlight? An anti-zenithal highlight, I guess.
God, I can't. No, you said it. You said it in one of your videos, did you, Rob?
A nadir highlight. But come on.
That's it.
That sounds fucking pompous as shit, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I love that pompous shit. That's amazing. Technical language. Nadir, yeah, Nadir. So it's Nadir and Zenithal. I'll see if I can try and remember that. I like being able to use pompous technical terms.
It's a flex, isn't it? It's a flex.
Yeah. So this is Chunderhammers. I think it's an exalted champion as well because of all of the garments and bits and bobs that he's got on him.
Okay, so I remember a little bit about this model when he painted it. He said the axe comes from Age of Sigmar kit, like one of the Sigmarines.
So it is a kit bash.
Yeah, so it's a kit bash. And what I really like about Chunderhammer's stuff is that he paints for the tabletop, and he has quite a stippling, sort of messy style that really like works and sort of gives a sort of a texture to everything. I don't know if you can zoom in on there, but if you can look for yourself.
Yeah, I can see on the leg there, on the inside of the leg. So there's 3 layers there. He's got his base, his mid, and his highlight, but it's got that kind of concept art quality to it where it is kind of loose brushwork and yeah, I think that's great. And he's always posting on there, so this approach, it's definitely good if you want to get a lot of models painted, kind of getting the best of both worlds there. But dude, yeah, that is nice. Yeah.
It does a really nice I think this is true metallic, isn't it, that he's washing down and then he's giving very specific highlights to. He's doing he's doing true metallics correctly. No, I don't think it's non-metallic, but he does it. That's when, either way, when you do a true metallic or a non-metallic and you got someone looking at the pictures and they're not 100% sure, you've nailed it, right? You've nailed it. So he's nailed this because I can't tell 100%, but I'm pretty sure it's true metallics that he's giving quite heavy washes to with the gold, and then he's coming in with very the brightest metallic highlights. He might be using white and not actually using metallic on these parts, so that which is something you can do with true metallics, is you can use white to sort of force the idea that you've got really
Interesting.
bright, like,
Yeah.
I just can't tell if he's doing either or. And so he's nailed it. The shoulder pads really show it as well. And down here, this makes it look like it's a light reflection from the camera.
That's interesting.
But then this doesn't. Do you know what I mean?
Look
So
at it
I
from another
cannot
angle.
tell. Like I can't. Well, we've only really got like that one. Okay, no, it is. It's metallic. It is metallic because you don't have it there.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I'm past it. Getting confused between my left and right cursors and which is meant to do what. No, yeah, he's done a really good job. It's true metallics, but it's
Yeah.
you can't actually really
Stop
tell.
on that one.
Yeah.
Okay, so this, because I saw again when he was posting the progress pictures. This is all sort of like a corkboard cape. So he's stuck little bits of cork to it
Yeah.
to sort of simulate dragon scales.
That is cool.
Yeah, I thought that was really nice.
You
Great
honestly
stuff.
wouldn't be able to tell. That's.
I just assumed the model was sculpted like that.
I'm kind of questioning. Is that cork though? Because
I was a bit confused about this though. I think this
I would second that. Yeah.
This has ended up looking a little bit messy, not to be harsh to it, but like the back, I thought this was sculpted. I didn't think that he'd stuck cork on, so that's pretty cool. It's a shame it hasn't pulled off like as well on that front bit as it did on the back.
I think the
because it's
front bit is
smaller,
too
isn't it?
small.
Yeah. And also, if he tried to do it after putting that axe in, it would have been quite awkward too, I would imagine. Get in there.
see the base though. I think that's the one bit that really steals the show.
It does
in a heavy way.
Yeah,
Like,
it sets him
Because he's
really
got
well.
all sorts of things happening there. He's got like the ash and the rock just brilliantly works. There's a tad bit of OSL there because if you look at his feet, you can actually see those colors of the reds carrying over into the recesses of the feet.
Yeah, I
So
see what you mean. Definitely.
He's pulled off that glow brilliantly.
Also, like he doing the crackle paste on what I'm assuming
Yeah,
are
I
cork
noticed
chunks
that.
has worked so well to make it look like charcoal. I mean, it looks so much like charcoal. It's amazing. But yeah, the OSL is really good on the axe where it sits, as well as, like you say, the red in the recesses is really good, isn't it?
Like I'm thinking that red in the recesses might just be from like the weathering stage. At the end.
Maybe, but it doesn't really show in
looks
the
kind of
rest
like
of the
a
model,
baseball.
does it? Like maybe it was in the weathering stage of doing the base. I think you're probably right. I think it's probably.
Like, I'm not 100% sure, but since he does do these things for like the tabletop, like having all the OSL effects would like add a lot of time to the process.
Yeah.
I do like
Great
how we've gone
eyes.
for as well the kind of the glowing hot metal,
Yeah.
rather than the full on kind of making that bit at the back of the X trying to look like flames. He's just kind of gone for a more I've just pulled it out of a forge kind of look, and that's a bit of decoration at the back. But yeah, I really love those deep burgundy tones you get when you're painting that glowing metal as it cools towards the end. So great work on that.
Really nice. Yeah. So that was Chunder Hammer's entry. This is mine. I feel bad because did this last year. This time last year, I made this. I painted this model.
We'll let you off.
You guys are very courteous to let me off. It's the only thing that I had to hand that I could do, and I was very cut for time, and decided to enter this last minute. But yeah, this is the
Looks
Monster
great, dude.
Hunter from
I like the
Sickle Games.
swords. I like the swords on the back.
Yeah, that was some of at the time. This was probably the best non-metallic I ever did on this little sword here. But yeah,
There's some proper OSL going on there as well. You can see.
I was going to say that angle is beautiful, mate, because it's the light spilling down his back, man. You
this-
get the shadow from the hat in there. That is, and I saw you posted some pictures of it on a white background, and none of that red at all. But looking at it on a black background now, I can really see how you've managed to get that spilling down down the side there. Fucking, it looks great, dude. Looks great.
Thanks.
Yeah, it almost doesn't read from the front though. That's the
Well,
curious thing.
so the deliberate choice was to make it a very hard split lighting effect, so that on this side of him, there's none of that going on, except for on the feathers, because I figured that the feathers you'd still sort of be seeing the light through the feathers bouncing through them. So
Translucency.
yeah. So and the only point I didn't do that is from the top, where it's sort of there's a hard cast shadow from this little ball on the top of his hat, and then like
nice.
it gets
Nice.
sort of softer as it gets further away from the light, and it shows like the material through like the line work and stuff.
I mean, the whole thing's beautiful, and what I love the most about it is like the choice of colors as well, because it's reminded me of those things that you're painting at the moment, which is from the Warhammer Quest, the Cursed City.
Yeah.
You're going through those at the moment, and those are some beautifully detailed miniatures as well.
Yeah,
and
they are.
yeah, I've had the absolute treat of seeing some of those early, and yeah, beautiful work.
So it's some of my
Really
favourite
looking
stuff
forward to seeing
actually.
those.
Like those Cursed City models are just glorious.
Are you going to be doing any OSL on them?
I'm sure there will be some that come up, which will have it. Yeah. The ones that I was doing are the ones which are going into my undead army.
There is kind of a whole contrast going on with those, because what is it? You've got they're kind of wearing that sort of like heavy kind of furs, as if it's like in a really cold kind of wintry city, but they have that sort of like warm red glow kind of colors and heat as well, so you could almost do that whole kind of fire and ice kind of effect with them.
Anyway, we're getting off track. I'd have to show people pictures of those at this point. So, but yeah, that's my Signum Monster Hunter.
Don't make work
dude.
for the man, Steve. Don't.
I like the eyes.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Like, it's a really good job.
Eyes at one point I would say were definitely like my speciality. These are all right. I've done some eyes. I tell you what, that I literally have ended up looking into, and I'm looking into a pair of eyes. It's but his right eye is pretty spot on. You can just about make out that I've done like an eye, like an iris and a pupil kind of in the light dot, and
It's the bounce.
one's a
It's
bit-
that second white dot, isn't it? Where you get the pupil, and then if you're feeling heroic, you will go then in for the second white dot for the
I didn't
light
really
reflection.
notice, but he's kind of got like a goat's eye on his left eye, like a wonky
Okay.
goat's eye, which I hadn't really noticed before.
You could say it was wonky, or you could pretend that because the right eye is, near the fire, near the brightness, the iris would have contracted.
Yeah. Oh, I think actually now I'm looking at it, I'm gonna say that it's because of this that's happened. At some point, he split his iris from a bad attack from a claw. The looks of things, I'll say that. But
Yeah.
Anyway.
I mean, that actually happened to my grandfather as well.
So
He
that
was
could
a
happen
carpenter,
because of that, right? Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Fucking awesome.
and he ended up with it was like a spark went into his eye, and so his part of his like iris and everything was all like a square.
Right. Wow. Fucking hell. It's like a Madeleine McCann eyeball, isn't it? Anyway, right. Right. Sorry. Oh, is it still too soon? Is it still too soon for that? Fucking
I
hell.
think it is a bit too soon, to be honest
Jesus
with you.
Christ, this never fucking ends, that one does. Okay.
It's always too soon. Tom.
Always too soon for Madeleine McCann. Okay. Right, there you go. So this is your wonderful work, Rob. This is the Darkroom Minis, your most recent video as well. Right, it's a great.
It
video.
is indeed, yeah. So this little guy is something I painted over the course of about 3 weeks, and I just kind of really wanted to go hard on some OSL for it, like trying to get some techniques going that I hadn't really played around with before. Like, I'm a huge fan of El Miniaturista, literally the king of OSL effects at the moment.
Yeah, totally.
And I've always kind of watched his stuff. You know, he posts reels and stuff, and you look at it, you know, he puts the oil in the crevices, and then it's white, and then it's some kind of bright paint over the top, generally a fluoro, and just kind of working it up like that. And you look at it and you go, oh yeah, you know, I could probably do that. I can work the process out. But I've never really pushed myself to sit down, study the reels, really think about it, and really 100% try and put it into action. But yeah, that's what I did on this one, and I feel like it's not too far off. I mean, you know, I did kind of track down the same conversion pieces that he uses. So those conversion pieces are from Grey Tide Studios. They're lovely bits, flaming swords and skulls and Space Marine helmets, fire coming out of them, like good stuff, you know. And then I just kind of wanted him to have like a Nurgling or a familiar, just a little mate, you know. And so I was searching for skeletons, and I just saw the Duta, you know.
We got to talk about the Duta, I think, first.
Do you want to talk about the Duta?
I want to talk about the Duta, and the reason I want to talk about the Duta is to do with the paint work and the paint job you've done on the Duta, which I love. I think he looked absolutely amazing. But the question that I have about it is that it's like he's more like a spirit, almost a little flame spirit coming out or something, right? Because like it doesn't, in terms of OSL, unless I'm mistaken from like not understanding its positioning, it doesn't quite make sense that he's glowing in the way that he is from this perspective. Do you know what I mean?
Correct. Yeah. So
yes,
I wanted to make him more sort of spectral. So if you look on the skull,
it's amazing, dude.
A stage in where you do the bone work. If you want it to be glowing, you would put a layer of corn red, like a dark red, like a dark desaturated red, and then kind of build it up from there. But I thought I wanted this guy to look more ethereal. Do you know what I mean? I wanted him to look more spooky, I guess. You know.
I think nailed it.
So I literally, all it is it's white, it's a fluoro yellow, it's a fluoro orange, and then it's an overbrushing Rakkar flesh. That's it. Like that was the quickest part to do, and then I think I picked out some of the details on the trumpet in Eshin grey, and yeah, I mean,
in fact, it makes so much. Now that I've pointed it out and you've explained that, this is great. This little detail that you've done here, where he is obviously glowing and he's sort of also producing a little bit of his OSL there, is just fantastic.
But he's not like the light isn't spilling out of him. That's the thing.
It's just, if you look it's close enough to him. It's glowing enough so that it's lit these areas up. Yeah, it's subtle. Right? Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I found this a lot of fun, man. It was really, really zen to just kind of get into some really complex shapes, and just kind of working on a few workarounds. So on the bone, on the bolter, I kind of really gotten into this. If you've got a big complex shape like that, when you're doing your layering, kind of do it as overbrushing. I mean, I don't know if that's what people do anyway, but I used to kind of, with the tip of my brush, really try and pick out every detail and stuff.
Yeah.
And in the end, I was like, why am I doing this? You know, I can just do like a targeted damp brush, I guess. And then, you know, if you've got something really shiny, go back in and get some edges there. But yeah, I just overbrushed that bone work on the bolter, you know.
Yeah, I tend to find that like you can do a lot of detailed work on stuff like that with just the edge of the brush as opposed to like the point. And like you say, just kind of overbrush it, you know, go very carefully over with the side of your brush and catch like a whole load of detail all at once. Yeah.
The one thing I would say, sorry, go on, mate.
Sorry, I'm interested in the OSL effect you did, so less the actual flames, because I understand the flames, like the shin plate there, and his chest eagle and everything. I think they look absolutely spectacular. They look so good.
So it's pure white. So you do an edge highlight in pure white, and you want that to be tidy, really, really kind of punchy, you know. And then you literally kind of go over with a messier highlight in just a fluoro paint, whatever the color is that you're working in. And because because the layer of fluoro, it's not just on the white, it's on the surrounding area as well. And because the paint's really transparent, it sort of creates its own little gradient on there. It's not like, it looks like you spent ages blending in every feather on the Aquila or whatever, but I haven't. I've literally just done a pass in white and then a messier pass in fluoro, and that's it. It's just placement, really. It's where you put it, you know. Obviously that's an underside and there's a flame underneath it, so that'd be catching the light, and then anything generally that was upward facing, I tried not to highlight that. So yeah.
Oh, it looks great, boy. Looks good.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask as well, Glottis, what can you tell us about the Legion of the Damned? Because I don't know any of the lore on it, really.
Okay, so Legion of the Damned was actually one of my, I say armies, but one of my first like little mini projects when I was like 15 or something, because I really, really love the lore behind them. So essentially, and again, not a lore expert here, but they can be perceived as a manifestation of the Imperial grace, I guess, if you will. They appear in situations where the tide is completely turned against the Imperium. When there is no hope at all, the Legion of the Damned just appear. They come out of the ether, they come out of the war, however you want to see it. They just appear on the battlefields, and they're basically unkillable. They, like, weapons fire just passes right through them. Even when weapons fire hits them and it takes like a chunk out of them, they just carry on regardless. They operate in complete silence, and nobody can find out anything about them. So, for example, when Inquisitors like try and hunt them down, or are even in the same place at the same time, something will always conspire to sort of block their path, to just stop them from learning anything. Everyone who sees them will also forget about them within a very short order. So even if you've been rescued by the Legion of the Damned, within a few weeks, within a few months, your memories of them will be just gone. Like, they're a very spooky sort of ghost army, I suppose you could call them.
Yeah.
More than anything else.
I mean, aesthetically, they're very close to Marvel's Ghost Rider as well.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, very nice. Beautiful work, Rob.
Oh, thanks. Appreciate that, man.
Yeah, man. There's beautiful stuff. The back. So you did this. You did some of it with the armor with airbrush initially, I'm guessing, right?
I started painting the armor with brushwork, kind of putting Dark Reaper on there, and I just wasn't really feeling the finish on it. So yeah, I did do most of the values on the armor in an airbrush. Yeah, I've got 0.2 nozzle now. I've managed to get a replacement for my old one that. Like butter, and it allowed me to get some really nice edges going on there. So yeah, would recommend.
So is that the Vallejo white grey, or is it different?
What I am.
Oh, he's roboting a bit too much at the moment.
Yeah.
He's just excited. He likes talking about paint.
I think it's cold white. I think he said.
Yeah, and I think this is the one where he put pictures up on Instagram as well. And someone
can you hear me, guys? This is so annoying.
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
I've got to hang around for you to accuse me of photoshopping it. Yes.
What? No. What? Did someone?
Have you not heard about this, Tom?
No.
Yeah. So right. So when I post this up on Facebook, I post it up in Heavier Metal, which is like the big group on there, and got like a fair bit of love on it. Got about 6k likes on it. But there was one guy in there, and he was basically like accusing me of photoshopping the image. And I was like, I don't have a fucking clue. Excuse me, I don't have a clue how Photoshop works. You know, like I can put text over things and maybe tint things here and there, but I wouldn't know how to like modify an image to make it look like this. You know, but yeah, the guy was on there and he was kind
of that than you are at photoshopping a model like that, right? I'm the same as well, right? I'd be stuffed if, but I mean, I think I'd probably. If I spent loads of time, I'm sure I could Photoshop my models to make them look better, but I've spent far too many hours of my life getting good at painting to ever want to.
Yeah.
And also,
and I
if
think
you were
maybe
going to do that, if we're going to do that, then you'd have gotten rid of like the little bit of fluff and dust, right? Like.
Probably, yeah.
Anyway, we should look at. We got.
I think this is actually pre-varnished.
This is pre-varnish.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you didn't put the varnish on with that piece of dust on there. I hope you got rid of the dust before you varnished.
I don't know. I've got him here. Let's have a look. Let's say yes. Let's say we did.
This is the Darkest Dungeon models that has been entered by Chaz's. Chaz's entered this. Which we were talking about earlier. Amazing, like backdrop that he's got for it. I don't know if that's. I think it might just be. Like the board game and the book that comes with the board game. I'm not sure.
It's very effective.
I love it.
Like the Darkest Dungeon, so I assume it is the board game's case.
Yeah,
I mean that's definitely the floor tiles for it. For that's on the ground there for sure. But like, yeah, that could just be the box art or like the manual, like you said, for the backdrop. And very effective. Makes it just 10 times better. But yeah, the model itself, wow. Beautiful paint job.
Yeah, it is. It's lovely.
Can we see some of the other ones? Because he's got like a little dude with him as well, isn't he? Yeah. Dude, this man. This is lovely, isn't it? Yeah. And you know, the thing I really like about these sculpts is that they're quite stylized, aren't they? So you know they're not kind of hyper realistic. It's almost got that chunky kind of sketchy look to the sculpts, which I just think works really, really well. You know.
Yeah, I think it's one of the things that we sort of don't see enough of in like GW sculpts anymore since they've gone digital, right? We sort of lost that completely. And I assume that these are probably digital sculpts, not hand sculpted, but they've been sculpted very sort of lovingly with the design of the original artwork in mind, obviously. And whoever's done the sculpting looks like they have their own style that's nicely distinct from GW, and they're sort of very rigid design.
Just for context. Like if anyone doesn't know, Darkest Dungeon is a video game that's been around for nearly a decade now, I think. And yeah, it's one of those roguelike ones, and it's got a very unique artistic aesthetic style, and the paint job on these is like they walked out the video game. It's got that very sort of like animated cartoon aesthetic, and you've almost kind of got that aesthetic carrying over, where it's almost a bit like cell shading, but more so like that comic book aesthetic, where you've got like very bold use of highlights and absolute jet blacks used.
Yeah,
you know, like on the face, the expression, the eyes there, you know, you've got that really high contrast, comic book style going on with the expression. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
And always a good option.
Yeah,
absolutely. Always a good option if you've got like if you don't want to do eyes, it's just to do the area black. Because God, you make someone look so sinister and scary when you do that.
That's a great idea, actually.
Yeah, and of course, black will draw the eye as much as white, almost. True black will draw the eye pretty much as much as white, because it's unnatural, right? Like to a degree. Just like pure white isn't something that we tend to see in the real world. But yeah.
Oh, it looks great.
Yeah, it's really nice work. Really nice work. This is the full team. This is, and then suddenly, like if anyone is familiar with Darkest Dungeon, then this becomes very familiar, right? With these characters, I think.
That knight is gorgeous, man. The way he's got the light playing off the scroll, tipping over the top of the helmet and over the tabard. That's beautiful. Yeah. Love that.
Really, really nice. The pink as well. The pink skull and candle and everything. This little sort of like, I guess, magic spell that he's casting. I don't think this is light being cast from a pink candle on top of a skull he's holding, right? I think this is like a sort of a conjuration in and of itself that's creating pink all over. But not sure. Either way, very nice. Really nice. Yeah. Contrast.
You really don't see pink OSL often at all.
You're right.
I think it would be perfect.
Yeah, because it's quite hard. It's very difficult, actually. I found the pink OSL, to be honest with you, because there's no it's hard to get purple to sit in dark colours and kind of run off into black. Harder than other colours, I find, anyway, because it always kind of maintains a bit of that kind of, depending on which paint you're using, I found just maintains the pigment kind of worse. I don't know, it's hard to describe, but yeah, I've always found pink OSL hard. Definitely.
I think I know what you mean. You mean as in like purple's very strong pigment. It's very dark. Obviously, it's the darkest of the colours. And thinning it down to glaze can be quite hard because it's sort of.
That's it.
You have to bring it right to its very thinnest point to sort of actually make it
blend it in.
Yeah, so especially with pink, otherwise you could just turn it into purple very quickly. Pink turns to purple. I don't know if there's only like maybe if there is even much purple being used. It's actually fantastic, isn't it?
That is,
really is exceptional when you consider the size of the models and that he's done it in the style as well. Like really nice.
I mean, that is good enough to be like the
box art.
Box art.
It really is, really, isn't it? Yeah, it's good enough to be the box. Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, kudos.
Yeah. And now with this is
Xerkios.
Yeah. This is another Legion of the Damned, right? So I'm all over.
Nice.
Let's start from the front. Here we go.
Yeah.
I
love this. Compared to like Rob's one, you've got a lot more kind of contrast in the face and the skull there that really just sort of, centers the whole model, really.
I think we used the same head, but he's managed to pick the teeth out, which was something I really struggled with on mine. He's like, each individual tooth is picked out there. So kudos for that, brother, because I could not do that.
Yeah.
It's another one of those, like, you can just sort of swipe them with a sort of dryish brush.
Yeah, true. I think I was trying to pick them out with the tip,
I do that clever, stupidly sometimes myself, and then oftentimes I'm like, why didn't I just swipe it? Like, there's like this old how to paint bone or something like that, like, or how to paint something on Warhammer TV from way back in the day, and that was how I learned to do it, and it was probably Peachy or something, being like, you just sort of like get a slightly dry, not quite dry, but like almost dry brush and just swipe across, and it works. It really does.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it's done a great job. Like I like this little section here is really lovely with the sort of blue to black to red. It's done there.
Yeah, it reads really nicely.
Yeah, it does. I don't know if I assume there isn't any flame there to give any sort of red, but it's and so he has done that correctly, I assume. It's just really nice. It's just really nice.
Oh yeah, that angle, man.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah, there's so much going on. It's it's a treat to almost take time and just really absorb each element.
Love the gun. Love like the red that he's gotten on that gun there. It's amazing. It's really nice.
And the great thing about this one as well is the muzzle flash from the bolter as it's kind of like firing, because you don't really see a lot of those kind of effects going on with any GW models, really.
I'd love to get a load of those kind of muzzle flash things printed in a clear resin so that I can do a transparent kind of, like probably fluorescent kind of effect on them, because that's how I would do that sort of thing if I could, but I don't have a 3D printer.
I think you could do it with UV resin and just cast a mold of it quite easily.
You're right.
And the beautiful thing about UV resin is that you could drop in, some like food coloring or some ink or whatever just to get that ambient kind of glow.
Yes, although I have found that when it comes to doing that, it doesn't really. The easiest way to say it is that it just doesn't like it. Like the moment that you colorize UV pigment, like you're obviously blocking like a certain amount of light going through. I don't know if it would work with certain colors, because obviously UV kind of sits on that sort of near purple blue side of the spectrum. So I wonder if with red and yellow you'd be okay, because it's the purple blue side of the spectrum that needs to get into the UV resin in order for it to harden. And the yellows to reds wouldn't block the blue light, but I don't know because I'm not a scientist. But maybe
I never noticed this on the model until now, but if you look at the flames, there's actually skulls. There's one in the base, 1 and 2 in the sword. There's a little skull.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, little.
That's one of the best parts, I thought. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, couple. That is very cool.
Yeah. Just like I was saying before, that you can lose yourself in it and notice all the more details that are kind of in it.
This little skull freehand that he's done on these. This is absolutely amazing, man. Like that's
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, I just immediately spotted this just then, and I was just like, "Holy shit, that's really well done!" Like
that's like an Easter egg.
You know what it is? You know what it reminds me of? I swear there was a gun skin in Call of Duty exactly like this, basically.
Right.
But I don't remember the Legion of the Damned having their guns like that, but they probably did have that, right? In their
they definitely did have that. Remember, everything is canon, Tom.
Yeah, definitely. That's true. Yeah. All head canon is canon. Yeah.
Something kind of funny about the Legion of the Damned is if you look at the original artwork from like way back when, the flames are like the wrong way up. So the red at the bottom and white at the top.
Oh right. Like the back in the old school 90s Green Base days, so they hadn't quite worked it all out, kind of thing.
Absolutely, and in fact, to that point, it really messed with my head when I first came back to hobbying. And in fact, you were talking about El Miniaturista stuff. I think it was El Miniaturista stuff that actually broke my brain when I first saw it, because I was still in the headset and mindset of starting with red at the bottom, and you move up to like yellow, white at the top, which of course is. That would only be like a chemical kind of flame that might possibly produce that kind of a light, or if you maybe light the flames the correct way as well. I've learned there's some crazy stuff about flames that you can do with light, where you can make.
It's weird.
You can make like a black flame if you put certain blue flames under a yellow light. So that's a crazy thing to see, is like as a black flame. But that is.
So that's like additive color model, isn't it? So that's like CMYK.
Well, this is physics. This is a guy doing this,
RGB.
Well, so I don't know, because he's using like a particular filter on the camera to actually be able to capture it in the first place. Because a normal camera wouldn't capture it, but by the eye it looks, I think, like a black flame. If you put
interesting,
and it's the old, the old lights that they used to use, which were yellow. It's that kind of light, because it produces a very particular spectrum. It's very anyway. Getting a little bit autistic about it.
Yeah.
Can't help
Speaking of
myself.
spectrums,
So last thing I wanted to point out was just the base, because he's done a wonderful job on that, and like the crackle effect that he's got on there. I think that's like crackle paste. I mean, it's got to be.
Yeah.
And it looks like he's added extra flames to it.
Unless it's a sculpted base.
No, I don't think
it's
so.
paint. It looks like crackle paint.
Yeah.
So what is it? You do a layer of yellow and then the crackle paint over the top, and then when it crackles, the yellow comes up from underneath like it's lava. Is that how he's done it?
And he would have had
You
to
can do it like that, or you could probably just do it, paint it, like do it, prime it, and then just paint it with like a pin wash or something, maybe.
Yeah, I think he's done it. The way that Rob was saying. 'Cause otherwise, you'd have to go inside these cracks to like. Clean
Yeah, that's what I thought. There's no paint on
See,
there,
no
is there?
paint
Yeah,
on those
you're
bits
looking
there,
at
yeah.
exactly the same bit I was looking at. Yeah, or autism alike.
Yeah. But so he must have put these. He must have stuck these flames down, painted the flames, and then put crackle paste on. I think that's how he's done it.
Yeah.
Which is pretty.
We'll quiz him later.
Yeah, we'll have to quiz him later. It's a shame he's not here. Hopefully, we'll get a few more people on the next. But yeah, really, really lovely and really nice. That circles.
I should probably say as well that this is actually this paint job by Zerkiel is actually a really quick one for him. Like normally he takes a long time and he paints ridiculously well.
I
to like
was
a
gonna
proper display standard.
I was gonna say that I got the feeling that this was done very quickly by someone who was very good. That was actually my very first thought when I looked at this. I thought, this looks like someone's done this in a rush to enter it into the competition. But if someone's done this in a rush, they're really fucking good, because to do this in a rush is really nice. And, like, I'd be chuffed if I did this in like anything under like 4 hours. Maybe I'd be over the moon with it. But he may have spent like 4 to 8 hours. But I reckon he may have spent 4 or less, which would be crazy.
I mean, the only thing I'd suggest about this, and I think he probably knows this already, because obviously he's a much better painter than me, but probably just like move the contrast with the flames a bit more, because they seem kind of comic book style right now. Just sort of, it doesn't go into like the black ash or like the very like whitish like central.
Yeah, I was having this conversation with him about whether you actually want to put that pure white right at the base of the flame, and he was like, no, an off yellow's kind of enough, and that's what I was saying about kind of your piece where it's more grounded and naturalistic, and I think that works if it's freehand, but when it's like actually sort of like a full 3D sculpt and it's coming out of an object, I think you need the punch, don't you, really? When it's an actual flame, not just something on the front of a armor plate or whatever. I mean, I would have gone pure white there. I think it just adds so much to any flame work, really, to have that dot of brilliance in it where you would think the light would be coming from.
I think as well with flame, it's that. So, for example, if you like zoom in the tip of the sword there.
Mm-hmm.
You can sort of see like the actual sculpted flames. It has a gradient almost from the bottom to the top, but in an actual flame, the inside of those sculpted flames would be brighter than the outside of the flames, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, I think he's kind of done this in a bit of
So
a
it'd be
rush.
like an inner fire.
He's sort of done this in a short period of time. He's obviously worked on the power armor quite a bit, and you can see these like lovely gradients that he's achieved with the red and the blue. He's focused more on the front and in the center.
The best example of the flames and stuff, though, if you want to see them done to perfection, is probably in the head, because that's where he spent the most time on the model.
Yeah, and on the front as well, you can see these flames here are really nice as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you can see what I was talking about before on the head, where you've got that kind of core Mistborn red, desaturated dark red, and that's how you kind of sell that it's glowing but it's cooling kind of thing, you know, and that really differentiates it from the flames around it kind of thing. So yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Love those burgundies, you know.
Yeah, amazing work.
And this is Lego Adams's entry of a Balrog.
Yep.
Lovely.
Yeah. This was also a 4-hour paint job, from what I remember. So he did it really quickly in like one evening.
Yeah, it was literally one evening, and that was it.
I've got a Balrog to paint.
Whose is this?
This is Lego Adams's.
Lego Adam.
For a model that's been done in one single evening, I think it's incredible. That's brilliant. I mean, that's instantly tabletop ready, you know. And yeah, are we able to zoom in on the face at all?
Yeah,
Like, is there another? Yeah, because you can really see a lot more of what's going on there.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Work on the tongue.
Yeah, so all the flame is all coming out the guy.
Yeah, I really like the wings on him as well. If you go to the wing shot, I think that's like a really nice.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Like
that's
It's like coming from within, isn't it?
yeah.
Coming from within it, kind of thing, you know.
It's very painterly.
Yeah.
A bit Van Gogh, yeah.
Yeah.
Van Gogh painting a sunrise or something.
Right. Well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's incredible for one evening.
Yeah. Like you say,
I think anyone else would really struggle to do that.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he doesn't have an airbrush either.
I'm going to be spending like probably
It's all paint, all brushwork, I think.
at least a couple of days on the one I've got to do it at the minimum. I thought. So. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really glad you guys pointed out that it's yellow from the bottom and then red at the top, because I've done my I've done my what is it called, the trash fire. I've done that, and I've done it the wrong way around.
It's happened here as well, hasn't it? We've got the yellow flames up top as well here. It's good though. I kind of like the classic old school fire, you know, style and go from red.
Especially for the orcs. I think it just really suits them.
Yeah.
Like they're not meant to be.
They got fired the wrong way around, yeah.
This is like the thumbnail for your video, or
Yes.
it is great.
Yeah, so the video will come out next year. It's been scheduled in advance because I'm trying to get ahead of the game. And this is part of a series of killer cans that I'm toy bashing and scratch building.
And I hate to say it, but you know, like filmmaking stuff, I think, or Miscast very recently did a killer can video, and if you've already done the video, you would do very well to move it around and have it rescheduled for your next video to come out, because you'll pick up
doing
some
an entire
traffic.
series on killer cans. So there's
Is this series done? Because if one of them does it, then it usually means that one of the others is going to end up doing it, and then you can pick up on the YouTube algorithm. I might cut this bit out because we don't want to let everyone on YouTube know
trade secrets.
Trade secrets, lads. But if one of the big people do it, like Bill Making Stuff, or like Suggs, or like, you know, or Miscast, or whoever, right? Like, or even one of the even bigger channels that turned on to doing Warhammer later on down, like later in their sort of crafting thing or whatever. I'm trying to think of the names of them, but the really big people. Jazza, for example. Yeah, like Jazza, right? Like if they're doing a video and it's a topic that you've done a video on, especially you, Earthman, because you're so far ahead of yourself with your video production, and you've got things just loaded up on YouTube. Just bear that in mind, man. Like if you suddenly see like a video by one of those big people up, and you've got a related video, just swap it round for your next week's video, man, because it will. I swear to God, you'll see a difference. I tell you now, that's a that's a big one that someone let me in
Oh,
a while.
Bill Makes Stuff has already shouted out my channel, I believe.
Yeah, I think he has, hasn't he? I think I've seen that video even.
Yeah, I mean, I've not seen it. I mean, I barely have enough time to do my own stuff, you know, let alone watch other people's. Unfortunately, but yeah,
Says the man who's like well into next year in his video production schedule. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's not just that I'm doing. I'm focused on. I'm actually editing a video that's going to be on DM Scotty's channel as well now. So,
Great, nice.
Oh, nice.
That's very good.
Yeah.
Dude.
That's what that snow globe thing was for. The Christmas ornament one is it's part of that video. But to get back on track anyway, because
This is great. Anyway, you get back on track. This is amazing, dude. I love this. It's so good.
Cheers. The main thing I was focused on this was like, you know, because the whole Kill a Can series that I'm doing on all the orcs is focused on the specific clans. So there's going to be a Kill a Can for each of the orc clans. And I was looking at the Evil Sons, and their logo is crap. It looks more like a pagan kind of, you know, ye old orc style of logo, and it looks so completely out of date. So what I've done is I've effectively made the head of this orc the Evil Sons logo, and I've kind of modernized it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so it's more in keeping with the kind of more modern orky aesthetic for 40k.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying there. I'm a personal fan of the old artworks, and they are very much paganistic, and they're derived from like hell mouths and hell faces and old artwork basically. That's quite esoteric.
Yeah, and if I was to be doing everything in that kind of a style, I would definitely adopt that approach. And you know, I see a lot of people do paint in the old kind of style, but with, you know, new techniques and the such like as well. I saw someone painted recently all of their Space Crusade models, but did it using all modern techniques, and they looked incredible. It's something you should definitely look into at some point, guys, because I think there's a real charm to painting those original sculpts.
Yeah, because they're hand sculpted. They have life, I think.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I've actually painted. I painted last year, I think, one of the old Elf Blood Bowl models in the old style. It was glorious. It was glorious.
Oh, nice.
And there's also a dude that I know. There's a company called, I've even got his card here, Creative Sculpt Studios, and he's a lad who's just runs his own little business, and all of his sculpts are all old school. They're well worth.
Oh, nice.
Out. Yeah, so if you're looking for like, and they're metal cast as well. So if you're after old school models and in that old style, of course, like that being said, it's not Kev Adams, is it? Kev Adams is the wrong person I'm thinking of. I'm trying to think of the guy who's the original guy behind Goblins and Orcs and the way that they looked. Was it Kev Adams? No, not Kev. Anyway, I've met him. In fact, I have. I got him to sculpt. Bring out your lead. You can go and meet some of the old people from Games Workshop who left the company. And sometimes like John Blanche is there every year as well, amongst others.
Yeah.
But,
and they've got a similar thing on the go in Texas with the whole Reaper Bones miniatures. And the beautiful thing about Reaper Bones is that they, all those miniatures are all supporting local kind of like artists and sculptors who make them, and then they get a cut of the sales for if their miniatures are sold as well. So they're very much an outreach kind of, grassroots kind of community-based company.
Yeah, they raid me a lot on Twitch. They've raided me a lot in the past. And their paints are really good as well.
Oh yeah, you should definitely reach out to them because they're incredible company and really sound ethics as well. I would say. But to bring it back to this model, anyway, so like the Evil Sons clan, they're basically the ones that believe red ones go faster. They're the the cult of speed essentially, and that's why I made sure this guy was like a sort of like a half kind of wheeled mech kind of thing, so he'd be a more kind of like speedy kind of character, and just threw on a big Gatling gun. Scratch built an arm because that whole arm is pretty much old MDF sprue frames.
Can I ask about the Gatling gun? Did you make that yourself as well?
Yes.
It's so good. I love it.
Oh, thank you.
It's such a cool design, and I know what you're like, and you've made that out of probably cardboard bits and bobs. It's amazing. Amazing.
Like cable ties. What this man can't do with a cable tie ain't worth being done.
The count on those barrels is actually cable tie as well. So
is it? Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Cable ties are the gift that keeps on giving, and I will never feel ashamed to say that.
I might just 3D print you like 10,000 cable ties for Christmas and just send them to you. You just swim around in them like some kind of cable tie Scrooge McDuck, you know. We
do. That is a Scottish tradition, so we, Thank you for respecting our values.
Right, this is a 3D spin around of glasses from earlier.
Yeah, nice.
That's beautiful.
Order of the pictures. So.
Looking great.
Yeah. He's really nailed that sort of like ash.
Great, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you've got the background on this is perfect. Yeah. Like your lighting on this photography is absolutely spot on. Really.
Yeah. So for the lighting, I 3D printed like a little, not enclosure, but like a little light booth that fits underneath and around one of those little turntables.
Yeah.
And I designed a whole thing for it, and it just really works for like getting really nice black backgrounds.
I've made myself a little light box and set myself up in front of it, but I've got a little mirrored top. Whereas I suppose I could do with getting like a black top for the my spinner. The word for it.
So I designed that one as well to sort of just like sit at the side of my desk. So basically, whenever I finish a miniature, which takes me like a month, the next the one that's just been finished will just sit on my desk rotating.
Yeah.
So I can have a look at it while I'm painting the next thing.
Yeah, nice.
Motivation. Yeah.
I set mine up pretty quickly, but that does sound like a pretty good idea. Yeah, sometimes I think about also if I could get like another camera that was maybe, I don't know how I'd have this set up so that I could just switch to it on when I was streaming as well, and just switch to the Lightbox setup. I do sometimes, but it's a right fact.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Really nice, really nice.
Yeah.
This is terrifying. This is from Spear Miniatures. Wow.
This is amazing, isn't it? I absolutely love this.
Right? Is this Creature Caster?
Oh, he said he 3D printed it.
Oh,
yeah. So
it looks like the 3D. It looks like Creature Caster style a little bit. They do some really freaky stuff and big models as well. It's got a bit of a Dark Souls vibe going on as well, hasn't it? I think.
Yeah, Dark Souls, Blasphemous, Trench Crusade, all that kind of ilk. It's very, there's something a little bit less, I don't know, good, more so like evil about this.
Yeah, definitely. This is just dark and evil, 100%. I love his light box backdrop, like his cloth, his textured or like
Yeah, that's like a playing mat, because I was asking him about that.
It's a playing mat. I was just looking at this, thinking this bit here, thinking this looks like a playing mat, actually. Wait, right, there you go. But it works perfectly with this particular coloured backdrop, doesn't it? It just really
you've got
like
those magenta tones tied in, haven't you?
They tie in, the magenta's there, you've got the sky colour, you've got the green there in the background. It's amazing. Really artistic.
That's how you do it properly, Rob. You don't use Photoshop.
You learn something new every day, mate. Don't worry.
Really great. Really love this. So this is Spear Miniatures. He said that it was rough getting through this. He waited till the last minute to enter it or whatever.
Spear's actually a really great 3D artist as well. So I don't know if this model in particular is his sculpt, but he does some great 3D sculpting work. I actually commissioned him recently to sculpt Tony Blair's head, which he did amazingly well.
Oh wow! Is that a bit of a leak for a future video? Is that like
perhaps, yeah. We'll keep that one under the hat for now. But
everyone needs to make sure they're following. Oh, we'll do shout-outs at the end.
Sure.
But yeah, this is amazing. If he's ended up sculpting this for the contest as well as painting it and then doing this and this backdrop, then I am fucking blown away. I am. If he's done that, then I want to shake the man by the hand, because that would be next level.
I've been looking at all of Spear's posts recently, and he's just like, it's like every hit is a home run.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Wow.
Like the work that he's been putting out, really, really amazing stuff.
And this, like, I wonder if he's done this on computer, digital art, or a picture from somewhere.
I think he did say he was going to do the background on the computer. I don't know if he did it on the computer rather than painting it, but that was his original plan.
This is nuts. What a talent. Okay, that is next level. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. And then we have this wonderful creation.
You saved the best for last, man. I know it's not a competition, but the reason it's not a competition is because this is clearly the winner.
Thanks, guys.
Everybody had a great last night.
Here's Starmer's career. A fire in a toilet.
I think what I wanted to prove is that you don't necessarily need OSL to sell fire and a message.
Yeah. No, I think this does have a message. This does have an important message. Just don't pour gasoline down your fire and set it alight. Down your toilet and set it alight. That's the message. I like how it's like it's riding a wave of its own water as a result of the fire having come out of the top of it. I particularly like that aspect to it. It really does look like water that's come out of the bottom of a toilet as well, like in a rush. It looks like there's a little bit of water. I think this is glue, but I think it also looks like there's a bit of water trying to make its way out of the fire too. It's all really pretty. I think
I think the really thing I like about this though is when you look at this image, right? If somebody told you that had just sold at a modern art gallery for £50,000, would you believe it? Yes, you would believe it. You were in the wrong game, Steve.
Apparently so. Yeah, I'm going to be doing a video on how to do those flame effects. Obviously, I'll try and paint them a bit better. We'll just do this as a joke.
This time you've done it the right way around. You've done it with the light at the bottom and it's gone towards the red and the dark at the top, right? So this time it's unlike the killer cans, but that obviously works.
Wow. You're just mean. That's just mean. Like, this time you did it right. This time. The other time, no.
Yeah, sometimes I just forget what I'm doing. I just sort of I go through it really quickly and I'm just not kidding.
I tell you what I really like though, when you post it in the general with the Golden Demon winner overlay.
Yeah.
Finally, Golden Demon.
That's 100% not photoshopped.
I just thought Golden Demon had finally started to be truly inclusive. You know what I mean?
No, I'm sorry, but even have you seen like the kids categories in Golden Demon?
Yeah, Bob, there you go.
Yeah.
Brilliant. That is art. Mwah! Chef's kiss.
Yeah, it's a good one to end it on anyway. So we should do shout outs. This is Earthman Brick's wonderful work. I mean, platinum. I think that's fair. You know, I think that's fair.
Yeah. Credit where it is due, mate. You know?
Absolutely. You know, I mean, like, honestly, it makes me question whether or not I should be entering
Oh, thanks, guys. Sometimes you know, I think we're disingenuous, but you know, I really appreciate all the praise.
It's the best policy.
So good. Yeah, it's real, not Photoshop. Yeah.
Right. Plus, with all the fluff, it really does look like a real toilet.
In Scotland, yeah.
Well, I like to go for authenticity.
Right, yeah, and so follow Earthman Brick. I'll put all the links down below. There's Dark Room Mini's got this, and I'll find links for anyone else who's got socials that have printed and put stuff on that we've been showing work on. And that's it. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, great stuff.
Beautiful work, guys.
Yeah, everyone's really good.
Yeah, looking great.
Right, I'm gonna roll the end.
You're gonna end the end of the end.
Yeah.
Just so we're clear on that.
The end is nigh.
Doom.
What is it? AE always says, "Get out."
Get out.
That's
You don't belong in this.
that from Charlie Brooker, though. He did nick that from Charlie Brooker because that's how he used to close.